was encouraging me to be a teacher for a long time, and when I couldn't make it as a rock and roll star, I went back to my college experience, and I had an English degree. So I initially started working as a magazine writer, and then when that wasn't really working out for me, I decided to go into teaching.
Do you recall what psyche means?
Oh, psyche is like a metaphor for the soul.
Psyche is a metaphor for the soul. And remember, Eros represents not love, but, Barbell?
Lust.
He represents passion, lust, desire, the physical aspects of love and desire, okay? So even the gods feared Eros' power to make them act on their desires, often in ways that led to shame and humiliation.
English was first, because I had a degree in English. I always had an interest in reading and writing. I was always a pretty good writer. So I figured play to your strengths. So that's what I decided to get into. And I figured once you get to be an English teacher, you know, after you pay your dues a little bit, you get to kind of pick and choose the courses you want to do. So I was offered an opportunity to take up an American folklore course that a friend of mine was giving up because she was moving on to another job. And when they asked me to take over the class, I said, well, I'll take it over, but I'd like to change the curriculum. So what do you want to do? So I said, well, let's make it folklore, fantasy, and science fiction. You know, and that's kind of what I always wanted to do anyway. So they said, yeah, okay, you know, show us some ideas and we'll see what you think. And I showed them ideas. They said, fine. And it was, you know, mythology and fairy tales and science fiction stuff and hero myths. And we incorporated The Hobbit and Star Wars, and it became a very popular course. A lot of kids were interested in that.
Okay? Eros fails to carry out his mother's command because he himself becomes inflamed with passion for Psyche. Okay? Eros has a problem now. He must have her. He feels passion for her. He was looking at her when he pricked himself with his own arrow. So he's got to have her. But he can't have her because his mommy wouldn't approve.
It was in the beginning of doing folklore, it was mostly boys who took it. And then what started to happen is after when Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings became popular, all of a sudden more girls started taking the class. And then I incorporated Beauty and the Beast into the curriculum, and then more girls came into the class. So I've had classes where there were a few more girls than boys, whereas it used to be all boys and maybe 4 girls. So that was one of the interesting things that evolved in the class, is that as the culture outside the classroom was getting more and more into fantasy and science fiction stuff, more and more girls were getting interested in it, and then they were starting to take the class too.
Wife, okay? And the story ends with her apotheosis. And of course, everybody knows apotheosis means? Come on, notice not even you? You know?
Becoming a god.
Becoming a god, apotheosis. Okay, so copy this into your notes.
If you're an English teacher, you can't just give multiple choice tests and just put dots on paper. You have to make the kids write. They have to express themselves. You have to show them how to express themselves clearly. So that's, you know, the objective. But then when you have a stack of papers and, you know, so many of them fail to give complete answers, they don't give accurate information, and you feel it's necessary to correct them. You know, you don't just want to take the points off. You want to say, well, this is why you're losing 10 points. This is why you got an F. You want to give some kind of a feedback.
That's his dilemma. So what does he do? He does what any self-respecting red-blooded male would do, which is what, fellas? He shacks up with her in a secret place and doesn't tell his mommy about it.
We're in a mass media society where we're being told what to do and what to think and how to act. And so many people are just parroting the opinions of others rather than formulating their own ideas and their own thoughts. So that if you belong to a certain kind of group, you better think this way. If you live in a certain part of the country, you're expected to think and act this way. And we're reverting to that again, I think. I get that sense. We're opening up, becoming more open-minded, and then all of a sudden the closed-mindedness is coming back in again. So I think it's important that kids learn, listen, you think that's your opinion, fine, but can you back it up? Is it really your opinion, or are you parroting what you hear at the kitchen table at home? So that's, I think, the important thing is tell us what you really think, not what you think others expect you to say.
Here, the darkness symbolizes ignorance. We have an idiomatic expression. When you're left in the dark, it means you're not told about something. You're not aware of something, okay? So the darkness here symbolizes her ignorance.